Hello, Black women friends. Let's talk about how to start treating yourself with loving kindness because other people are not going to do it for you. And they cannot do it for you. Loving kindness is a way that you treat yourself. It's also a way that you tell people how to treat you or show people how to treat you. But it really does start with you. It starts with you, me, us. I was watching a tiny bit of the Supreme Court confirmation hearings last week, which is not like me. That's not something I would normally do, but I was procrastinating from writing my book. And I saw a lot of Black women talking about the treatment of Supreme Court nominee Jackson. But the treatment starts with yourself, putting yourself in situations where you are treated with loving kindness and avoiding situations where you're not. I don't think you need to sacrifice yourself, your well-being, your peace of mind to do things for other people. So I actually fall on a different side of this Supreme Court situation. If our sister wants to go through this process and wants to do these things, I support her. But that is not the life that I've set up for myself. That is not a life that I think most of us want or aspire to. Instead, I know, based on the conversations that we've been having here lately, that we are looking to embrace ease and peace and not struggle. And so let's talk about how you can do this. How do Black women treat ourselves with loving kindness? I want to say that team treat yourself, right? Team luxury, team Black girl luxury. I don't think that that is the path. I think that luxury is good if you enjoy it. I'm enjoying it here in the Caribbean for just a little bit, but it's not the end game, is what I want to say. Luxury is not the end game. There is more to treating yourself well than #treat yourself, right? Than shopping and buying and aspiring to a certain level of outward luxury, right? We're looking for inward peace. Mani-pedis and designer handbags will only take you so far. They're not going to take you to peace of mind. Our good sis, I'm sure, has designer handbags, right? But what she didn't have last week was peace. I don't think, right? Again, my opinion. So, and also I want to remind us that we're in a pandemic. We're in a whole pandemic. And so we don't need to be so hard on ourselves. We need to take some time and give ourselves grace, which is hard for a lot of Black women. It's really hard for a lot of Black women who I talk to give themselves the same grace that they give to me or to one another, to other people. I'm pretty good at it, but it's something I had to learn over time. I did have to learn this over time. Let me give a quick definition of loving kindness, and then I'll introduce myself because I just started talking and that's rude. And then we'll go into it. I've got 6 steps, I think, to the beginnings of treating yourself with loving kindness. So the dictionary defined loving kindness as tenderness and consideration towards others. I think that's very telling, the fact that the definition of loving kindness speaks to our treatment of other people and not treatment of ourselves. Tell me, do you do something in particular that is your way of loving on yourself? That is your way of being gentle with yourself, of treating yourself with loving kindness? If you do, let me know in the comments. All right, and my definition of ease is just the absence of struggle. So that's what we're talking about today. If you want to know why a channel that talks about house sitting and sabbaticals is talking about how to treat yourself with loving kindness, let me tell you why. Hi, my name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a year-round house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School, and I help Black women embrace ease by taking a sabbatical, by moving abroad, by becoming a house sitter, by bopping around the globe as a digital nomad. And I don't think you can have ease. I don't think you can embrace ease until you fully give yourself grace, until you can treat your own self with loving kindness. I think that until you do that, you will always feel like you're not enough, like you need to be giving and doing and serving more than you need to enjoy and relax. And I think you need to have all of that stuff first before you have something to give, if you want to give at all. I don't even believe that Black women have to be in a position to take care of other people. I don't think we need to do that anymore. I think we've done that. I think it's okay if you want to say, hey, I want to live for self. Let me get back on subject though, okay? If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. And turn on notifications, ring that notification bell so that you will be notified when I post a new video. Welcome. All right. So I've got some steps. I've got 6 steps to the beginning of treating yourself with loving kindness. I'm not doing this video because I'm an expert on that thing. But I do think I'm at advanced level. I do think I'm advanced level. I'm in the Caribbean right now. I'm in Curacao. I can show you. I'm here with a special guest, my mom. We're like kind of on the water. The pool is right there. We're in a little resort. There's some construction happening, but then, we're right on the ocean. When you take some time to embrace ease, when you take some time to enjoy some peace of mind and some quiet, you start to hear the words that are running through your head, right? That negative self-talk, you actually have a chance to hear it. And you get a chance to say, wait a minute, why do I talk to myself like this, right? So number 1 step to treating yourself with loving kindness is get rid of that negative self-talk. Right? Those things that run through your mind that say you're not good enough, or that you're always wrong, or that you're not worthy of this or that. I know it's there because it's there for everyone. I hear it myself. I did a good job of kind of reprogramming my mind years ago. I talked about this in another video. I had a miscarriage when I was young. And so literally for more than 20 years, when I heard that someone was expecting, when I heard a woman was pregnant, in my mind, I would say to myself in words, everybody but you. Everybody but you, right? That meant everybody. I knew what it meant. Everybody gets to be a mother but you. I thought everybody got this thing that I want except me, right? So every time, literally for 20 years, I heard those words, or I said those words to myself. That is negative self-talk. I erased that particular piece of negative self-talk. I don't mean to say that I don't have any negative self-talk that runs through my mind, but I erased that particular piece by just being conscious of when those words would run through my head and saying some other words out loud. I used to say the source of all abundance is within me, right? Same God. After a while, I just abbreviated to same God, right? The same God who did these wonderful things for other people, and the same God who's done wonderful things for me will take care of me, will give me the desires of my heart. I'm not a life coach. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not these things. I'm just a person who has reprogrammed myself from hearing those words by being very conscious of them and saying other words out loud to replace them, so that instead, when I heard someone's good news, I knew that my brain was going to tell me, hey, girl, you too. You too can have the things that you want in your life. So reprogram your brain. If you need some extra help on how to do that, fine, reach out to somebody who can do those things for you. That's what therapy does. That's what counseling does. That's what coaching does. They can help you with that. But first you have to understand that these words are negative and not true. If you believe the negative self-talk, you're not going to make any efforts to fix it. So when you hear this negative self-talk, imagine yourself saying those words to somebody else. If you wouldn't say it to somebody else, you shouldn't be repeating it to yourself. That's when I knew I had a problem, right? I would never, ever walk up to a woman and say, did you hear so-and-so was pregnant? Everybody gets to be a mother but you. I would never do that. So why would I say it to myself? Talking to myself the same way that I talk to other people has changed the game for me. Changed the game. Changed what I hear in my head when I'm not even aware of what I'm thinking, and changed what I think is possible for myself based on just what I know is possible for other people. So number 1, first step, I think, to treating ourselves, Black women, with loving kindness is getting rid of that negative self-talk. Stop it. Deprogram yourself. It takes time, but you can do it. That's something that affirmations do. I have a video on this channel of affirmations for Black women, and I have an entire playlist, actually. I'm going to link to my entire breakthrough playlist, breakthrough for Black women playlist in the description of this video. So click there. Those videos are helpful to me. I love those videos, and they'll be helpful to you. They're videos from other women and from myself. We talked a little bit about the negative self-talk in my live stream just over on Saturday. The live stream was about House Sitter Season Part 2, but during the live stream, someone asked me about my hair and what I do to my hair to keep it healthy and whatever. And the conversation turned to the fact that a lot of women with hair like me, hair like mine, don't talk nicely to themselves about their hair, right? Say mean things to themselves and to their hair, and feel negatively about that. This is something that self-talk can fix. So step one, get rid of that negative self-talk. I think step two, or number two, I don't know that these are chronological steps now that I think about it, but number two way to start treating yourself with loving kindness is to speak kindly out in the world about your work, about your skills and abilities, about the things that you've done. And I don't mean your work as in your work only. I mean just your stuff. Speak kindly out in the world about your stuff, right? Anything that you have done, if it's some art, some paintings that you did just as a hobby, something that you crocheted, a meal that you made, speak kindly in the world about your stuff. I coach women business owners who have a YouTube channel. I coach them to use YouTube analytics to grow their channel in order to grow their business. And inevitably, invariably, with every new person, we have to go over again with the fact that you're not going to talk negatively about your work in this space. You're not going to talk about your YouTube videos or your lead magnets or your blog posts any worse, any more harshly than you would talk about your sisters beside you or mine or your neighbors or strangers, right? If you wouldn't say it to her face, don't say it to your face. Don't talk negatively about your stuff. It doesn't matter what your stuff is, okay? But in particularly, not about the things that you've created or made. Talk kindly about them. Give yourself that same grace that you give to the woman beside you. You know she's new at this. This is new, and she's learning. She's putting in some work. She gets frustrated sometimes. She's not exactly confident yet. She doesn't have enough reps in the YouTube world or in the online business world to feel confident yet. And so you would not bash her work. So don't bash yours. So not just the self-talk do we need to get rid of, but we need to get rid of the harsh words that we say out loud, right? We'll say out loud harsh things to other people when speaking of ourselves. Sometimes it's to try to help make people think that we're not being braggadocious. Humility is overrated. Humility is overrated. When people hardly ever say to non-black people, "Oh, I love that you're so humble." They never say it. But to black people, you hear that compliment a lot. "Oh my gosh, such a humble guy, such a humble person." I think humility is overrated. I didn't look up the definition of humility, but I think y'all know what I'm talking about when I say it. Normally they mean don't think too highly of yourself. I know the Bible says don't think more highly than you ought, but you ought to think pretty highly. I think, right? More highly than you ought is different from not highly, right? Don't think more highly of yourself than you ought to is different than don't think highly of yourself. The Bible does not say don't think highly of yourself. All right? Y'all know I think highly of myself, and I think you should too. I say to those women, I'm a good teacher. Because I know I'm a good teacher, right? I've seen women learn things because of the things that I've said. That makes me a good teacher, right? So I say it, right? I say, you now have the skills to do whatever the thing was that we covered during group coaching. And I say, you now have the skills because I'm a good teacher, okay? So get rid of the idea, the notion that you need to degrade yourself and your work to make other people feel comfortable. We've already talked about this. Our job, our lot in life is not to just help other people feel more comfortable. It's not, okay? So stop apologizing for being good at things. Stop apologizing for being human in general, for having questions and concerns and doubts and fears. Let's move into that, right? So another form of speaking kindly about your stuff is being gracious when you know that you're feeling fears or insecurities or doubt. It's okay to say, I'm feeling this thing, without feeling like you need to apologize for feeling this thing, okay? People apologize a lot for feeling feelings. I don't apologize for feeling feelings. I try not to. I try my hardest not to, because it's what makes us human. Human beings feel feelings. We're not robots. And so when you apologize for feeling feelings, you say that I'm not deserving of human emotion. I don't believe that, okay? So number one, get rid of negative self-talk inside here. Number two, get rid of the negative self-talk out in the world. Number three, tell people when they have crossed the line. Speak up. Tell people, I treat myself with loving kindness. If you can't treat me with loving kindness, if you can't speak to me with loving kindness, don't speak to me. Say it out loud. Tell people. You do have to tell people these things. People do see it. I see it in women sometimes when they move, just the way they move around the world, about their lives, their everyday lives. I'm like, she is good to herself. I don't know if it really makes me want to be better to her, but there are some people, right? Because I think I'm pretty good to people in general. I think I'm good at treating women with loving kindness. But I bet that there are other people who say, she's one not to mess with. She's one not to mess with. Not because she's some big bad chick, but because she feels good about herself. She treats herself as if she feels good about herself. She moves about the world as if she feels good about herself. I'm not gonna mess with her. Now, other people will take that as a challenge. I've experienced that too, right? Other people will say, oh, she's confident. How dare she be fat and confident? Let's see how quickly I can tear that down. How dare she be dark-skinned and confident? Let's see how quickly I can take that away from her. How dare she have nappy hair and a big nose and be confident? Let's see what words I can use to just get under her skin. Okay, so I'm not saying that you telling people how to treat you will cure the problem out in the world, but at least you have done your part. That's all we can do is our part. There's a wonderful Twitter thread that I'm going to link to in the description, honestly, by Solomon Missouri, who is someone I follow on Twitter and love following. He is a man and a minister. I don't know if he's a pastor, but he's at least a minister. But he did a wonderful thread on Twitter after the Oscars talking about how jokes inform people about how to treat other people. Jokes out in the world, things when people are like, oh, it's just a joke, right? When people try to brush off when someone mistreats another person, how that actually informs other people on who they can mess with and who they can't, who is deserving of protection, who is deserving of kindness, who is deserving of being treated with respect, and who is not, all based on jokes, okay? So it's okay to say to people, that's not funny. Don't talk about me like that, okay? I've linked to that Twitter thread in the description. Okay, so that step to treating yourself with loving kindness is to tell other people when they have crossed the line. Say it out loud. Practice it. If it's hard for you to say it out loud today, practice. Try it. Even if you're afraid, try it. It'll get easier over time. What happens when people don't get the message, don't get the memo, when you have told them specifically and explicitly to treat you with loving kindness and they don't do it? The next step, remove the people who refuse to fall in line. Relationships don't have to be lifelong. That's another thing that we're overemphasizing. We're overemphasizing the importance of humility, and we're also overemphasizing the importance of length of relationship, right? You can have a long relationship that ain't good. So this next step, which I think we're on number 4, is to remove the people who refuse to fall in line. If they refuse to treat you with loving kindness, they can't stay. Just a few weeks ago, I interviewed Danny, who is a coach who helps Black women who have had a narcissistic mother heal from that abuse. Of course, I'll link to that video in the description. And Danny was very clear on that video that you cannot heal in a toxic environment. If something or someone is toxic for you, you cannot heal in that environment. Somebody's got to be removed from it, okay? So this next step, remove the people who refuse to fall in line. Number 5, form community. You know, if you've seen any of my videos ever, you know I'm going to talk about forming community. Number 5, form community with women who are also growing and blooming and thriving, right? Form community with women who treat themselves with loving kindness, or at least are moving in that direction, who are working on that actively. It makes things much more normalized, right? My friend Katrina came to visit me a few days ago. Katrina does yoga and she does these things, and it normalizes to me in my life women who take time to treat themselves well, right? Not money, but time. You can use money as a way to treat yourself well, I think. But the more important signifier, I think, and again, maybe I'm being judgmental, but the more important signifier is how much time in your day or in your week is dedicated to you treating yourself with loving kindness. That's the signifier, because you can't spend your way to treating yourself right, to treating yourself well. We already said this is not about #treat yourself, okay? So form community with women who do these things. Anytime you're in a community with people, it normalizes these things. I told y'all that I wanted to work on crocheting. I joined some crochet Facebook groups, some Facebook groups for people who crochet, and they have they're very beginner friendly. I'm in 2 different groups, I think. It becomes normal for me to have conversations about crochet. It's becoming a part of my weekly life. I'm working towards that, right? I'm also writing a book, right? So I need to get in community with women who are writing a book or working on some sort of big project, so that the idea of blocking off time, of sitting, putting your butt in the seat and doing the work is normalized to me, and it becomes more like a habit. When you have other people who have certain habits, you can pick up their habits, right? So join community with women who are treating themselves with loving kindness or are growing. Yes. All right. And the final step that I came up with for Black women to begin treating ourselves with loving kindness is to find an outward representation of that inward loving kindness, that inward gentleness. Okay. So there's a lot of talk on the internet about, I can see the thing. So I picked an Airbnb next door. They told me then that they had to switch my Airbnb at the last minute. I'm in the Caribbean. And they switched me to an Airbnb that has a mural of a white woman's face on the wall, which is hilarious. I don't know. So when I lean over, I can see her looking at us. But this is not a conversation for her. She needs to stay in her place. All right. So find some sort of outward representation of that inward gentility, of that inward gentle way that you're treating yourself now. Okay, you need some sort of like talisman. I'm writing a book, y'all. In the book writing world, they call it a talisman, a reminder, a thing that symbolizes something else, a physical thing that you can see and that reminds you of something else. So I know I said that you cannot hashtag treat yourself to or shop or buy your way to love and kindness. But you can, I think, give yourself something, buy yourself something, or make yourself something that is that kind of reminder. Yeah, every day I wear this thing. It's a reminder that I treat myself with loving kindness. I don't have one yet, but I could. So I could pretend like some things that I do have. Like I took a long time to buy myself a ring. I bought myself a little channel set black diamond ring, right? So I could maybe turn that into my talisman. And when I put this on every day, I remind myself that I treat myself with loving kindness. I might start doing that, actually. Find an affirmation from Tracy G or Tony Jones. They're my affirmation chicks who I love on YouTube. I might find some affirmations from them and start repeating it every day when I put my jewelry on, just as a reminder that I treat myself with loving kindness, and I demand that other people do the same. All right, I think that these are the steps to treating yourself, Black women, with loving kindness. I don't think that we can expect other people to do it, as we've seen. And I know that even if we could, they're not going to do it until we do it for ourselves, individually and collectively. I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button on this video and share it with someone you know who is working on this journey of ease herself. Speaking of which, if you're new to embracing ease in your everyday life, if you're ready to get off the struggle bus and start living a life of peace and ease, please take a second and watch this video over here. You'll like it. It's good. And if you want to know how you can boycott winter in the Caribbean, and you want to know like where in the Caribbean, which island is right for you, you can watch this video over here. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.